Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mad John Maker podcast. This is episode 73, and before we begin, we'd like to apologize for the little bit of a break with addition to the holidays. For me, there were some personal matters that happened. We'll leave it at that got in the way, so took a little bit of a break from regularly scheduled last Saturday podcast to in the wrestling reaction show every Friday after SmackDown around 10:05 here on the channel live stream. If you're a fan of wrestling, check that out. We cover everything: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and depending on our schedules, the past pay-per-view that may or may have happened. But besides that, we get into episode 73 here. We got a lot to talk about. There's Robbie Downey Jr. in Star Wars, possibly the rumor. We got the college football championship this coming Monday. We'll talk about that. Some more, DC news with rumors of Michael Keaton, and our take on Wonder Woman 84 that came out on Christmas. We obviously just talking about it now since of the delay we had, or the break we had for this podcast, and some football talk. We have the wild card games starting today, pretty much as we speak, with the first week of the NFL playoffs. Every time there comes the playoffs, it always comes Dark Monday, and we have some head coaches that have been relieved of their duties. But we'll get into that stuff. But the first topic I want to get into, very serious, that happened just on Wednesday, was the for lack of a better term, the riots in DC of Trump supporters breaking. And we lost John. We're gonna get John right back, and we're gonna continue with the show. And we got John back. He had a little power flicker at his house that destroyed everything. So now we're back. What I was saying before, we're gonna start off talking about what happened this past Wednesday. The lack of a better term, the riots in DC with Trump supporters. At first, it seemed like protesting the election results because Congress was going to ratify or make official the electoral college votes, and things just really escalated with all those big group of people, thousands and thousands of people breaking into
supposedly
the Capitol.
supposedly I believe there was around 10,000 people at this rally, give or
I
take.
think
So
easily. I think easily 10,000. I don't know the
yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
Breaking in into the Capitol, even getting into, I forget what chamber, getting into the chamber, taking pictures, getting into the offices of some officials like Nancy Pelosi, and just breaking windows and doors to get in. Even I think 4 people got killed. 1 got shot in the Capitol. I saw the video on Twitter. That's something else. And just the whole chaos that ensued there. The woman they had like these doors, like it's like a stairwell, and I think there were doors coming out of it, to get into the main level of the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and the glass was broken, and she was trying to, I think, climb through. She was like standing like in the thing of the door. I think obviously big glass of enough for someone to get through. And you just heard this shot, and you just see her fly back, land on the ground, and paramedics are trying to come, and the supporters are like, save her, she's shot, and like, you gotta stand back so we can do stuff. It was just chaos. So that was the big one that was on Twitter that everybody saw. 3 others have died, I think, with other stuff in hospital. So that was one of the crazy, lack of a better term or phrases here. One of the craziest things, like, in real time I've ever seen in regards to like politics and like stuff. Like, that was just a crazy thing to. Well, oh, it happened with John again. A crazy thing to watch. We're going to pause this. We're going to come back. We're going to get this right, everybody. You gotta love electricity and electronics. He's back. The hell.
You gotta. My goddamn power, it absolutely does not want me to be doing any podcasting. I guess tonight.
Next time I'm going solo. It's going to be the Matt Makes a Podcast, because John's power has no power.
Obviously.
I want a segue to get into talk about this. So what I said right before you went kaput. This is probably, and I probably repeat myself, this is probably the craziest thing in real time.
What a way
I have seen
to begin 2021.
Yeah.
Just, like I was at home working, and I just one of my coworkers said, "Hey, something's going on down in DC." So I log onto Twitter, and basically everything is going completely insane. You just see just like videos and pictures of like riots, of protesters invading the freaking Capitol building, which I believe, Matt, that this was like the first time that someone had
I,
broken into the Capitol buildings since the 1800s.
yes, something like that.
Yeah, so it's just like
Civil War. Was the Civil War? I don't know. Somebody said it,
like might have been,
but regardless, my question was, and a lot of people have brought this up. How like, if you climb over the fence of the White House, right? There's snipers. Like, if you get close and you get past, you're gonna get shot. Like, deadly force.
Right.
But how did nobody, like, there's seemingly video, I gotta watch again, of the cops letting the at the time protesters like just come up through,
basically walked in. They basically walked in, which I'm like, like I was just extremely confused. It's like, so we're just gonna let these people just walk right into like
but like,
oh my god,
they're saying that like for like regular people to like be up that close to the Capitol building, I think really got shut down like after 9/11. For the most part, I believe they were saying. So like, how is there not like cops just like beating the holy hell out of people, or pellet? Not pellet guns, but like the beanbag, or at the at the same time, why is there not? There probably will be a change of like gunmen on top of the Capitol now, like it is on the White House now.
I just
But how is there not any like
I
whatever. And like inside, it was there's the picture of them walking through like that big lobby hall. What they call it, statue hall, statue two, whatever. It was statues, and there was ropes, right? Like in line for like a movie or something, and they were the most organized rioters. Nobody like walked outside the ropes. Everybody just slowly walked. And
Yeah, and the thing was, man, like a lot of people were like saying, like this looks incredibly organized
oh no, it
and
was.
staged. Oh, like yeah, I mean, it clearly was. It's
They
just
had a rally with Trump, Giuliani,
all
and
right.
Trump Jr.
Mhm.
Uh, before, and then they all the people all kind of migrated to the Capitol, and what happened. Like the most incredible scenes, pictures was the I guess Capitol Police or some sort. They were in the back door of the chamber, of whatever chamber. Um, the glass was broken out, and they had it barricaded with something, and they're pointing guns at the rioters outside trying to get in. Like that was like the most. Think of like you always just see it in that chamber, just either the State of the Union address, just Congress, just debating stuff, like all the like history that's been in that building, right? And one picture coming out of it is, I guess, police or what have you, people pointing guns at rioters trying to get in. Like that is like blew my mind.
Well, yeah, and have you seen the one picture of there was like two people in the chamber, and they're literally holding up a door, and they have a freaking gun. Like as soon as someone comes in, they're going to blast someone. I'm like, this is the craziest thing I have ever seen that I never thought I would ever
And
see in my lifetime.
yeah, and and people were comparing them. Well, not comparing them, but let me explain. To Black Lives Matter protest
Yep.
and the police response to protesters being
Hard not
more
to hard
aggressive
exactly.
than to these people. And I feel like what ruined it, well, I mean, we'll go not a history lesson, but like the cause. I was thinking the cause of all this till we get to this point. So I think it was a lot. If we go even before Trump or leading up to Trump presidency, we had everybody mad about Hillary Clinton and the emails and Benghazi and everything, and and the FBI, and seemingly things were not being done correctly.
Mm.
Um, you know, Trump was bringing that up when she was running, or when he was running, because he was facing her, and I think it was before that. Like everybody, it was used to politicians. You know something bad was happening over there, but nothing would get punished. They wouldn't get punished. And he brought this up, and everybody was like, "Yeah, finally somebody is like saying something we knew all along. Somebody's going to stand up to these crooked politicians." So he won that over. He won that crowd, and obviously he won, and he kept feeding the flame
Mm.
with like fake news, and that's become a phrase we use, and to some extent, to be fair, some of it you see is it could be true on
It's
both sides,
absolutely true, but
that it does happen, right? So you
absolutely.
see cases of that actually happen. He's bringing it up. You see cases, and you're like, well, damn, he's
Hell,
right
man,
there.
CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they are all guilty of this. So like,
Yes,
it's not just
I'm always
one
mad. Like,
network.
whoa, it's that Fox News. Fox News is a liar. CNN lies. They all do it.
They
They all
all
have
lie.
their slant. It's
Right.
your news station is it's not Jesus. It's not perfect.
No. They
Do some
all
have many other transgressions than others? Maybe, sure, but it's not like not everybody's perfect. Not even the parties are perfect. Everybody's all like thanking Jesus, second coming Jesus, that Democrats are winning the Senate, even though it's 50-50. Harris, soon to be Vice President Harris, is the president of the Senate, so she gets the deciding vote if there's a tie. So basically, Democrats have control. And I know you may not like the Democrats don't like Republican policies, especially now, and they have control, but it like nothing. They're both nobody's gonna win,
no.
regardless. So you start feeding the flame, Trump did, and people are seeing, well, okay, news is lying. We see stuff like that. Uh, FBI is not doing what their job. Hillary walked, like you feed that flame, right? Then fast forward to the Black Lives Matter protests. All supposed to happen. Perfect, not perfect. Required African Americans in this country, police brutality has happened. We saw it on video.
Mhm.
Necessary for this stuff to happen. But stuff that ruins it is that the minority group that the rioters who would loot, set stuff on fire, break into shops, and steal, and have nothing to do with the goal, right? It tarnishes the whole group, right? A few bad apples ruins the bunch, whatever the phrase is. I I think it was, I don't know, proven, but there was evidence that most of those rioters were not the Black Lives Matter protest people, or most of them.
Especially here in like Pittsburgh, where
Yes,
do you recall when they like vandalized like Mario's
statue.
or,
Yeah,
yeah, and that like that pissed off a lot of people, and myself included. But
yeah.
I mean, but
So
it was eventually proven that
so
that person wasn't,
yeah,
a protester.
people come from everywhere just to do it and take
Mhm.
advantage of the situation. So you have that stewing, right? You have Antifa, look at the left, right? And then you come the election time,
The worst
which
possible time, the worst possible.
worst possible time,
Yeah.
right? That oh, Trump lost by a small margin in a couple states,
Yep.
and it was rigged and a lot of stuff. Now, could some votes get lost, or well, something happens? Of course, it probably happens in every state. It's not a perfect system by any
No.
means. Stuff happens, but would it be a game changer if some votes were like, oh, there's, I don't know, just throwing out a number here, 5,000 Trump votes that got lost in the shuffle here? Would it
Yeah.
have made a difference? No.
I mean,
But if you're saying if that happens in that state, why is it not happening in any other state, right?
yeah.
Why, if it was close and it was rigged, like it just happens to be those states that were toss up and change.
Right.
We're like, you know what? Let's do it. So not like, what's the state Trump won? It was close.
Was it Georgia?
No, he. Oh yeah, I think he. I can't remember. That's Florida.
Pennsylvania.
No,
Pennsylvania, right?
Biden. No, Biden won that. He came back.
Well,
Let's say
well,
Florida. You think he
okay.
won Florida?
Yeah.
I think that was
He did.
relatively close. Always
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
So if it was rigged, wouldn't like somebody down there be like, you know what? That's whoops, we lost a couple of these Trump votes, right? And see, this is coming from somebody, fully admit, disclosure here, it's registered Republican, right? So I'm being fair here, right? Like this common sense, right? Like it can't just be a select few states or just counties, right? I it happened, he lost. So we have all this conspiracy about recounts and stuff. And if it's close, you're entitled to a recount. If it's like less than 1% or whatever, I forget the states, you can ask for a recount. It's perfectly legal, well within your right to ask for a recount. And they did. Then they bring all these lawsuits, and all the lawsuits got dropped, or the judges said, no. And he just kept going. And then his deep, deep, loyal fans or supporters were like, how dare this system, blah 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 blah. He won, and you feed the flame, until Wednesday happened, and Job called him down, and they go, we gotta fix this, I won, stuff like that, and then he leads to that. So you had this 4 years plus of just pent up like frustration from those strong supporters, right? There's just fall in line Trump supporters, and just build that up until he loses the election,
and the
and
thing
then
is,
just exploded into what you
yeah,
saw Wednesday, unfortunately, and it was
yeah.
appalling to see.
Well, and the thing is, it just amazed me that he never really thought that this could possibly happen. Like, it's just when you incite these people, not to mention, he threw out that horrible video essentially thanking those protesters who invaded federal property, and like, this could have been a lot worse. Like
Oh,
what if some politicians were shot and killed here? Like, does he not realize the seriousness?
apparently,
Yeah,
apparently not.
apparently not, because it's like four people were dead for something completely unnecessary, and
And
because you just could not accept that you lost the election. It's just
and it's weird because um uh I feel bad. I'm just going for the woman that I watched get shot. I feel bad because you didn't have to be there, and you didn't have to lose your life. And I think she was a veteran, if that matters. I mean, who knows? I don't know what the rest of her personality was, right? Um, but besides that, that's besides the point. You didn't have to do that, so I feel bad. But at the same time, I don't feel bad because you guys basically broke into the Capitol.
yep.
How I don't like how we know how, but how there wasn't more people um, stopped. I to me, I do not have a clue, and I'm again sitting there going,
Oh yeah.
how
Oh,
did it get to this point?
and Matt, I'm like breaking news here. Apparently, a Capitol police officer passed away from the riots yesterday. He was
Oh yeah, I
like,
see that.
yeah, he got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, and he was rushed, obviously, to to the hospital, but he passed um in the last 30 minutes or so, or when this was tweeted out. So yeah, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it is. It was a crazy scene. I felt like I had another point. What was I going to say? Oh, and so politicians want to invoke Amendment 25, which I forget exact words, but would if Pence would put forth that would remove Trump from office, or if not, they would do impeachments again. If that were to happen, you bring every possible officer, whatever, to that capital, because I can almost guarantee stuff's going to happen again, if not,
Yeah.
if not worse.
Well,
And it's
and
not going to be a pretty scene outside of Capitol, because if they were mad that the election was rigged and Trump lost how he did, even though it was legit.
Mhm.
Imagine what they're going to do if they remove him from office.
I know,
If Pence
and to
agrees with it,
me, it's like is
it's
the
going to be
it right?
a
Well,
complete shit show.
and my thing is, he's gonna be out of office in like 2 weeks. So it's like, is it really worth it? Like, just like let him enjoy his last days, because I tell you, Matt, once he is officially out of office, I wonder how many charges that he's kind of like pending on,
It's
because
going to be, yeah. This is not going to go away on the
no.
20th when Biden goes, I swear, right hand up. It's not.
Oh,
Um,
it just like, it's a very tumultuous time in this country right now, whether it be as far as politics, or like racial issues, and obviously COVID-19 on top of that. So it's just, I do not envy any person who is a president. And I'm going forward. That's for certain. But
yep.
that will be a very evolving thing. Needless to say, until President Biden is indeed sworn in. There's but by now, Matt, let's get on to more some more funner things, and that is talking about the NFL Wild Card Weekend. As we know, the NFL regular season has come and gone, and now we are ready for the second season, Wild Card, the NFL Wild Card Weekend. And as like Matt, we now have uh, um uh, we like now have 14 teams in, as part
Mm-hmm.
of the new format, where where only the only teams who aren't going to be on this weekend are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
So on Saturday's games, we have the Indianapolis Colts at at the at the Buffalo Bills, LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at at the Washington football team, and on Sunday, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans, the Chicago Bears at the Saints, and to close us out on Sunday, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, Matt, we'll just kind of give our thoughts and who we think is going to be who's going to be moving on here. So I guess say I am pretty excited here. The only thing I am not excited about is having our team on Sunday Night Football, because I'm not gonna have any sleep that night, regardless of like who wins there. So but
You
I'm
hear that, John?
oh, shut the fuck up. Okay, on Saturday, the Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. Who do you got here, man?
Got the Bills at
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
They're just playing too good,
yeah, mm-hmm.
too well at the end of the season. Or
Right.
I think, yeah, I just straight up Bills. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. They've been
Mm-hmm.
last three games they were putting up 56, 38, 48 points, uh, respectively. Um, yeah, they were just on fire.
Right.
Um, yeah, Indianapolis still technically coming in hot, but they lost to the Steelers on the 27th.
A like really bad loss to
Yeah,
against us. Like that game, because I believe that they were up by 2 or 3 scores on
I
us,
think so. At least three
and
possessions.
and that cost them a home playoff game there. So, and yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you. Buffalo, I think, could very well represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year.
I think
I
it's a good chance they go to the title game at least.
yeah, I mean, even against Kansas City has been in a lot of close games this year. Like that's not a guarantee that they um, that Kansas City wins that game, but at least for this unlike Josh Allen is just playing insane. Really took a like big leap this year, so I definitely will be picking them.
Yep. And the
Uh,
line for Buffalo is minus 6.5.
yeah,
I think they win by that.
yeah, I did too. I would definitely take the points
I
there.
don't think it's gonna. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be close at the end.
No, I don't either. The LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. This I could possibly see and upset here. Obviously, NFC West divisional rivals here. But I do say though that all depends on how healthy that what's his name, LA Rams quarterback.
Um. Uh. Goff.
Yeah, depending on how healthy that he is, because in week 16 he broke his thumb there, so that is a little bit concerning. But at the same time, that Seattle offense against Aaron Donald, who has been just a freaking boogeyman for that offensive line, is just going to cause them a whole bunch of problems. I do expect this to be a like low scoring game. Um, so what's the line on this game?
Seattle minus 3.5 according to ESPN, and the over under is 42.
That's actually whew,
Seattle's a minus
pretty.
175 favorite.
That's gonna be pretty close there because I'm not expecting this to be a very high scoring game. Because just going off of their other past games, it has been extremely tight. But I think I am going to go with the Seattle Seahawks, but I could very easily see the LA Rams winning this game here.
Yeah, I think they Seattle just squeaks by.
Yep.
I think it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle wasn't the playing like the juggernaut they have been in years past.
No.
I think Rams will give them a fight.
I do too.
But I think Seattle just squeezes by. I got that feeling. But
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, we shall see. And then on Saturday night we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Washington football team. I will say this: I think that this will be close at the beginning, but I just don't think that the Washington football team has enough consistent offense to like keep up with Tampa Bay, just and especially probably the last like 4 weeks, Tampa Bay had just been on fire. Tom Brady had over 40 touchdown passes this year, and that offense is just a freaking juggernaut when they are going. It's still a question at how effective that hey, like Mike Evans is going to be because of that like injury that he sustained on Sunday. However, I'm definitely am taking Tampa here.
Yep.
And whatever that the line is, I'm probably taking the
Minus
points.
eight. Minus
Yeah,
eight.
yeah.
As it stands now, this is ESPN. Over and under 44.5. Tampa Bay on the money line, minus 410.
So so yeah, so as currently we have the Buffalo Bills, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Yep.
all like moving on to the divisional round. And now for Sunday's games, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. This should be very interesting.
This is going to be close.
Yeah, because although Tampa Bay's defense or Tampa Bay, with Tennessee's defense, they have been horrible. Like, just they gave up over 30 points at like Houston on Sunday. Just been giving up a ton of yards, are not getting a consistent pass rush. That being said, Baltimore really struggled against this Tennessee offense. Ryan Tannehill and obviously Derrick Henry, and as we recall from the previous season, Matt, Lamar really had some issues against this team. And yeah, they are coming in pretty hot, but they have beat up some extremely bad teams. So I'm not exactly sure what type of a Baltimore team that we're going to actually see here. Are we going to see the team who has just been just annihilating, just complete inferior competition? Because as we have seen so far, Matt, this year, when they have faced playoff teams, like teams who they're going to have to go through, they have come up short.
And then Cleveland was a close game. They came back.
Exactly. So
I think was Lamar. Lamar was back then, right?
yeah, yeah, he goes back. Yeah. So I'm just not as confident about the Baltimore. So I'm taking Tennessee at home. If this was at Baltimore, I would probably lean towards them. But if we're talking more specifically about the defense of Baltimore, they have also have been giving up a ton of big plays, and especially against this Tennessee offense, you cannot at least hold in check.
Yeah.
Henry, it's going to be a very long day.
I think that's the key. If they can keep Henry in check and not let him slice them up, especially look in that overtime loss to Tennessee. I think it's going to be close. I think this is the most toss-up game of the weekend. Baltimore is minus 3.5. Over and under is 54.5. Right. And the money line, Baltimore is favored minus 180 to plus 160. As the line says, he stands now minus 3.5. I'm going to take Tennessee to cover at half a point, but Baltimore, I'm envisioning a late field goal to win.
And
one of those Lamar last drive, Lamar comes down,
and
preceded by a Derrick Henry touchdown to take the lead, or whatever, to tie, whatever, and then Lamar just goes down the field, and what's their kicker again? Baltimore's oh my god,
Justin Tucker.
Hit like a 49-yard field goal down the middle to win, something like that. I just see that happening. I'll take Tennessee. I'll take Tennessee in the points because, like you said, with Baltimore's pass, you never
Well,
know.
and two, I think with Tennessee, they're going to force Lamar to have to make some big time throws, and just off of his track record, that has been a problem. So, and that's why I like trust him, Ryan Tannehill more, just because he has proven that he's been able to make big time throws. Lamar, I mean, like in his like 3 seasons, needless to say, hasn't really shown that. So we will see how that goes. So we are taking Baltimore there, and now or or I'm Tennessee. And for the second game,
I'm picking Baltimore.
oh,
I'm picking Baltimore. I mentioned Baltimore out, but Tennessee to like cover that like half a point
okay,
to technically for for Baltimore to win by like half a point if that money line, if that spread stands.
yeah.
But
Okay, for the second game, the Chicago Bears at the Saints. I don't think that this game is going to be exactly close here. Just Chicago is just they aren't a very good team in my opinion, and like really, if the NFC had a little bit more depth, and if Arizona didn't just completely just like a choke away. They aren't even in this thing. So whatever that the line is, I'm taking the Saints there, Matt.
yep, me
Just
too.
just
Minus
just
10, minus 10.
yeah, I'm just the absolute superior team, better
O-
coach team. Yeah, just nothing
Over and
really.
under 47.5, minus 500 favored. The
Yeah,
strongest. That was according to DraftKings.
yeah.
Right now, just looking at the stuff here. So yeah, um, I think that's the a easy win there.
Easily.
Uh, Game to pick there.
Mm-hmm. And finally, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as like we know, Matt, COVID has been hitting Cleveland pretty hard. Needless to say, they're going to be with with without their head coach. He tested positive for COVID, and I think like 3 other coaches also tested positive for COVID, so they are supposedly out. And they lost a safety today, and they lost one of their other edge guys because he tore his Achilles. So it's like this is a very banged up team. Not to mention they haven't been able to get on any sort of Haley practice field on top of that. So it's like this is a game that the Steelers should win, in my opinion, Matt. And the fact that we had basically our second string guys in, and the Cleveland only beat us by 2 points. Like
Yeah,
just
I mean,
going on,
could have won that. Could
they
have
easily could have won that
won
game.
that game. Yeah,
So I'm feeling pretty good about the Steelers here. And they
it,
really struggled against against our our like our like wide receivers. Eric Ebron, he was just activated
yeah.
from the COVID list on top of that.
Chase
So
Claypool was a deep threat in that
he
last
was
game.
a freaking monster.
How side note, Mason Rudolph played his ass off in
I would
that game.
say that
If
was
anybody who comes out of that game who hated him before and can't give him credit for this game,
yeah,
then you're just blinded by
easily
easily. Yeah,
by far by far by far his
he gave
best
me
game.
he gave me more confidence. If something bad were to happen, at least for this game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Down if it was like extended period of time, I'm
Mhm.
not going to
And
say that.
I'll say this: like we sacked Baker what 4 or 5 times without T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, and on top of that, oh yeah, Cleveland they also will not have probably probably their best offensive lineman left guard in this game because of COVID.
Yeah,
So it's like, man, like it just
if they don't if they don't delay, if the NFL just doesn't delay this, right, and they're trying
yeah,
not to,
yeah,
you you you, you haven't had practice, right? I
injuries
think
everywhere.
injuries. Your playmaker, play caller, excuse me, your head coach is out. So your offensive coordinator is really first time calling plays in the game, which I think is the head coach or whatever. I don't forget the situation, but regardless, so the whole play calling situation is messed up. How big of effect that comes in.
I think that's going to have a really big effect because to me, the one consistent they run like Kevin
Stefanski.
yeah, has really been a really big part of this team just because he's been able to like call really good games. I think without him, it's going to be a challenge for this team. And man, like Baker is going to be running for his life because I tell you, Matt, Alex Highsmith was giving Cleveland hell on Sunday. Like he
Add TJ.
and add T.J. Watt and
Is this
Kane.
TJ's first playoff game as a Steeler?
No, I
When do
want
we get him? Did we get him?
in,
Did we have him in
and the
2017?
2017 in
We have him in
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
At time, like it
He's going to be
blows my mind.
he's going to be a very like a rich man on this offseason. I'll just say that. He's like
Pay him all. It deserves it.
yeah, just I just don't know how Cleveland is going to be able to handle
It
our pass rush. Like
it
it's going to be a
it comes
problem.
down. I think the key to this game is not how the Browns play, but
It's
how
how
the
we play.
Steelers play.
Mhm.
I think it's up to the Steelers. Um, if they if they if they come out the first half like they played against the Colts,
Yeah,
could they come back?
you're asking for
Possibly, but
trouble.
you're asking for trouble because
Yeah,
it's not the Cleveland Browns of like 5 years ago, right?
no,
They're a quality team
they
now.
are.
Even Indy was is quality, so don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong there. But it's not like every chance you get, you're going to come back
Yeah.
from 17 down by at the end of the third quarter,
Mm-hmm.
right? In a playoff game, they've done it before in the playoffs against Baltimore. I believe they were
Yeah.
down early.
Mm-hmm.
That was 14-0 that one year, I think. I
Yep.
think off the top of I don't know what the score was like after that, but
It was
definitely
like
14-0.
yeah. Think we won that game like 28
Something
21 or something
close.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
something they came back. But regardless, you can't do it if they come out guns a blazing and
Let me say this:
just
if they are up, say like 14-0, 17-0, Cleveland is in some major trouble because then they are in obvious passing situations and against this front and for how poorly that offensive line um, has been playing against our
that
defense,
if
I would be concerned.
if that happens, two things that don't go our way is that if you offensive drives stall out after that, right, and the offense gets conservative or does not sustain long drives, you
Right.
may not have to may not score,
Mm-hmm.
but drives, field goals, whatever, because you have the offense on the field at that point. Give the defense rest, because we see what happens when the offense goes 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out,
Our
and the
defense just
defense
gets
is
completely
basically
worn out.
on the field. Then they just go and they do what they want with our defense. It's only so much you can do.
And something else to keep in mind too is if we get back Robert Spillane, it's a huge addition for this defense, just because I think there has been a huge drop off between like him and Avery Williamson in his spot there. So and all from all accounts he is slowly progressing. So I'm hoping that he's going to be activated for this game, but we shall see how that goes. So I am picking. I am obviously am like picking Pittsburgh here.
Yeah,
It's a game that they should win. So yeah,
and then the lines are real quick. Pittsburgh is favored by 6 points, over and under 47.5. Money line, they're favored by 260 minus 265.
All right. Okay. So now we'll talk a little bit about the head coaching vacancies right here, Matt. I gotta say, I'm pretty much all of the ones that have like opened up. I'm not entirely surprised about. Obviously, we knew about Atlanta. New York was a like foregone conclusion. Unlike Jacksonville, not entirely surprising. I'm trying to think. LA Chargers, that I felt like was the absolute right call there. Who were the others?
Yeah, because we have the Jets, the Chargers, Jaguars. Then you have the openings from interims from the Texans.
Yeah,
Romeo
right.
Crennel is there. They finished 4-12 with them, and it says here 2 of those wins came against the Jaguars. So that. Then you have Detroit. They fired Matt Patricia on November 28th, and Darrell Bevel, however you say it, finished 1-4 in the final 5 games. So see if they bring him back. And I believe, Atlanta Falcons, after their bad start with just blowing leads, 0-5 start, got rid of the coach, the general manager, in the same day. So their interim coach Raheem Morris went 4-7 the rest of the season.
So they played pretty well, all things considered.
He might be out of all of them. I think he might be back.
Yeah, he's possible, but I mean, like you're kind of are like hearing a lot of the same names. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, which I will be shocked if he like is not a like head coach. And same thing for the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, Robert Saleh, who has been Robert's.
I was asking a question. I stopped and.
Okay. Yeah.
What I was asking was, what about? Is it the offensive coordinator for the Patriots?
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, people are going to try to look after him.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm in any franchise, I'm not touching him because he was essentially going to be Indianapolis's head coach a few seasons ago, and he just at the freaking at the 23rd hour said nope, I'm good, and so I think he really hurt himself as far as getting a future job.
I think depending on how the New England's off season go and their next season, if they don't get back into the playoffs, right? Because there's indications that Cam Newton might not be back.
No, he's not coming back.
Or not coming back. Yeah.
like Schefter.
So yeah, there's rumors he's not coming back. So if they don't have like another good season,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously teams are going to fire a coach, it happens every year.
Yeah.
Does he go? Well, I don't know about here anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long's Belichick going to be coaching?
Yeah.
He's getting there. Like this is I'm. Do I really want to try to rebuild here? Or you either try to rebuild here, stay
Well,
there long to take over for Belichick eventually, or
yeah.
tuck your tail in between your legs and admit you're wrong before and
Well, and
try
two,
try to
it's
coach
like
somewhere else.
you don't exactly know how much longer with like Belichick. How long is it going to be there? So it's like you're kind of just
Because he's
wait.
not young.
No, he's. I want to say he's at least what 68, somewhere in that
I thought
ballpark
it
there.
was he. I thought he was. I don't know. Wait. Hang on. Let me look. Uh,
Because he's definitely at least has to be in his late 60s.
that's definite.
Yeah,
68.
yeah. So like who knows how long he's going to be around there. But to me, out of all of those jobs, they're probably the most attractive. It's probably Jacksonville just because of the cap space and the hell a lot of them draft picks. And
And the number one.
yep, and that more specifically, and I think, and also being in like Florida, man, as like zero state income tax, so whatever,
Yes.
so basically whatever contract that like that like you're getting every single cent of that contract there. So I feel like that's probably a really attractive spot there. Tony Khan is probably like jumping through like hoops right now.
Well,
So
minus the typical. I think probably Social Security and all that stuff, but still the tax. It's
there,
probably I guess, but
yeah,
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 who knows? So
yeah. So
interesting off season, like always.
yeah, and pretty much when everything does, what when we are in complete off season mode, like I think Matt, we're gonna be seeing a ton of like free agents just because of the salary cap is
It's not
it's
going
like not
up.
going up. So, and
No.
for our team specifically, who have I think at least 10 or 11 free agents. Like, there's going to be a lot of teams cutting costs trying to get under that salary cap there. So, um,
You got that. I just saw a clip an hour or two ago of Pat McAfee. They were talking about JT Watt in Houston. He's owed like $7.5 million, but if they cut
no,
him
17.
17
17.
and a half, I'm so wrong
17.
number. That's what I was gonna say. That seemed low, but if they cut him, like they owe him zero,
Yep, $0. So like
and with the salary
he
cap
he's going to be one of
not going
them,
anywhere, he's
and
probably gonna go. He's not happy.
definitely a named. And speaking of someone who isn't happy, Matt, Deshaun Watson is supposedly is really angry at ownership right now because supposedly he was promised that he was going to be involved with them finding a new head coach and a like new and a new GM. The only problem was they hired a GM, but they never really consulted Watson. And according to Ian Rappaport, he has not spoken to them in a few days. It's just extremely frustrated, extremely pissed off. Can't blame the guy whatsoever. If he were to ask for a trade, who could blame him? Like, this franchise has just wasted his time. Is a perfect way
It's one
to
thing.
describe
Yeah,
it.
it's one thing. Do they let him go? Like, if you let him go, who do you have?
Exactly.
Assuming JJ's gone, right?
Yep. He's it.
Who
He's
do you
it.
have? You that's
He's
the
it.
last good piece to build around,
Yep.
right? You let oh my God, was it Hopkins? Right, right. That's the
Yep.
right person. Yeah, go at the end of before the season, right? The, to trade him and the dumbest move ever. you get rid of 1/3 of your star power, your
Mm-hmm.
star players, and and then you have a terrible season. Your
Yeah.
star defensive player is upset, basically wants out, and now your
Yeah.
star quarterback wants out.
Yeah. It's just.
It's not.
Uh,
I rather have the aging quarterback problem here.
and Matt, like, could you imagine Steelers Twitter if somehow they swindled a deal to get Deshaun Watson was Ben Roethlisberger's successor? Holy shit! Like, first of all,
Who do you give?
this will
If you trade, who do you give up? That's the thing. Who do you?
they would have to
What do you
give up
sacrifice?
like
Who do you?
honestly, if 2 first-round picks, I easily, without hesitation, I trade those. But the problem is cap space, first of all, and number two, I just am
I
not
don't think
convinced.
it happens.
No, it's not going to happen.
People
But
wanted
hypothetically,
no.
hypothetically though,
It would be
hypothetically,
nice. I
my
don't think
God.
it's feasible because you're gonna you lose those draft picks or you lose a player,
Mhm.
a star because you're not giving them peanuts for.
No.
If Bill O'Brien was still around, maybe.
Like a hey Bill, Randy Fichtner for Deshaun Watson. It will work out.
It will work. I swear to God, it will work out.
It work on. Trust me.
If that was if hypothetically if that were to happen, everybody on that
Oh my
Houston
God,
front office should get shot.
like, but man,
Hypothetically, it ain't gonna happen.
I tell you though, like if that were to happen, first of all, I would slap myself silly like many times because I just would not think.
It would be equivalent.
I
The
just
closest thing to when Penguins got a Ginla.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it was like overnight. It's like, oh, Boston's gonna get it. You wake up the next morning. Pittsburgh Penguins acquire Jerome Aginya. I can never say his name, and it's just like how
Again,
I know. Again, I could say it now. I always mess it up because I'm thinking what I'm seeing how it's spelled, and it doesn't look like how it's spelled, but it's not a Taves.
But yeah, like that whole thing is just that's gonna be interesting because you can just sense just how frustrated that man is with that franchise. Exactly blame the guy, but so yeah, that was all the NFL talk that we have for like this week. But now we're going to move onto some DC news, Matt, and
Oh wait, before we get that, do you want to talk about since we're a topic of football, the college playoff championship?
That's right. Okay, so yeah, that game is supposed to be happening this Monday night for now, depending on like COVID. But Ohio State versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Matt, I don't know about you, but I will be shocked if Alabama does not win this game. Like
Groundhog Day again.
It's
Alabama just destroyed Notre Dame.
Like that game felt like I was watching a like quad A school here in like PA versus a single A school. Like that's how like they did not belong on the same
not
field.
Aliquippa.
My God, it's just like
it just seems like I gotta as we talk about this, I gotta look this up. It just seems like there's always that one semifinal game, and it's usually against Alabama. That fourth seed looks like they don't even deserve to be ranked.
Well, and like man, like Notre Dame, like I was like, I'll be shocked. I said even before the end, I'll be shocked if this thing is even close. And like even in the first quarter, you're just like the talent difference is just so glaring and so obvious. Like just Alabama has NFL talent on every single level of their team: wide receiver, quarterback, running back, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, just secondary. They're everywhere.
They were just running plays at will.
Yeah. And dude, I'm not sure if like you saw their one their one running back, Alabama, Najee Harris, did this one hurdle over Notre Dame, and I'm like, that is just unfair. Like I swear he
Oh,
jumps at least to to the to the equivalent of like my height. Like that's like it just made it look so effortless and easy and like who knows he could be
yeah,
a
it's
potential
just amazing since the
stealer, but
playoff
yeah.
have come Alabama or Clemson since 2014 have been in the winning in the championship game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 years. Alabama or Clemson have been in the championship game. You had 14. You had Ohio State versus Oregon. There you go. That's the only one they haven't been in. And it was 15, and you had Alabama, number 2 Alabama win against Clemson 45-40. 2016, number 2 Clemson beat Alabama
Mm-hmm.
35-31. 17, you had number 4 Alabama beat. It just always blows my mind to see Alabama number 4. Alabama beat number 3 Georgia 26-23. Clemson the following year beats Alabama 44-16. That was a shock right there. Like that big of a gap. Last year you have LSU beat Clemson 42-25, and now this year you have Alabama and Ohio State. The programs those two schools have, it's undeniable.
It's like
I'd
um
rather see a mix of. It's like you can probably bet who's going to be in the game. You could probably bet separate bets. It's Alabama or Clemson, and you could probably be right. Like every year, it's consistently
consistently.
there's two programs. I can't find this information that I want, but anyways. But the lines on this game we talked about, you had Alabama -9, over and under 75.5, and Alabama on the money lines favorite -286 to +225. So
Yeah, it's oh my god. Yeah, so obviously I'm taking Alabama there.
I think that has to be the same the safe bet. Oh my god, I found the history. Notre Dame. Oh god. In 2019, so 2 years ago, semifinals they faced Clemson. They were number 3. I forgot this. They lost 30-3. Jesus Christ. Um, um, Another semifinal game, 2018, number 4 Alabama against number 1 Clemson. Alabama won 24-6. Another like stinker. 2017, you had, I guess, 2 stinkers. You had number 1 Alabama win against number 4 Washington 24-7, and then Clemson beat Ohio State 31-0. So those first 2 semifinal games were garbage. The year before that, 2016, Alabama beat Michigan State 38-0.
So was that good?
No. And then that other game, Clemson against Oklahoma, 37-17. Maybe not as bad. And then 2015, you had Oregon beat Florida State 59-20. So there's history, and usually the championship games are very close, minus last year and the year before that. LSU won 42-25 and Clemson won 44-16. Usually, more times than not, the national championship game is more exciting than one or two of these playoff games. There were some good ones. Don't get me wrong, but just like, uh,
Yeah, it's going to be.
but
I'm
I feel like this game is going to be maybe if not close in the beginning,
yeah.
or Bama
I mean, hell,
pulls away.
I mean, hell, when I thought for certain that Clemson was going to beat Ohio State, and Ohio State just blew them off of the freaking field.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields just had an insane game. And to me, he's going to have to continue that play if they have a like realistic shot against that team. So we'll find out what that is, and hopefully that game goes on as scheduled. But obviously with COVID, that remains to be seen. But all right, now we're going to move on to some DC news. And a big report going around that is that 70-year-old Michael Keaton is going to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne and Batman. And the first thing I thought of is like, okay, I don't think he's going to be a main character in this. I mean, like, one of two things have to happen. Either one, this is going to be feeding into like Flashpoint, or number two, they are going to be setting up a series or a like movie of like Batman Beyond, which to me that is something I would rather see,
Well,
just because that hasn't been exactly told as far as like live action is concerned. Whereas with like Flashpoint, that's been like kind of shown on like TV shows on the CW.
well,
So
yeah, and
yeah,
then I guess more clarifying news. I guess from the person who actually put that out, that I think he just signed on as of now just for the Flash, and
okay,
that movie, and
okay.
that
So
I guess
so
Robert
it's a
Pattinson
yeah,
is
is a main
going to
bad.
be is the main Batman. That's what I think that was the clarifying information, because it would be stupid. Did you have Robert Patterson? You have the test video or teaser
Yeah.
of him, and then like, we have another Batman. So
Well,
Flash, you just
which
have
is
him playing the Batman
right.
for
Which is
that.
why I said like one of two things
Yeah.
is that's the only thing that's going to make any sense is if he is playing a super old Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond, or he's part of like Flashpoint, which to me that those two are completely fine. Because everyone, including us, were saying, guys, Keaton's like is like 70, so it's like that's gonna be a tough sell there. But I think that
If it's a one off or in that role,
yeah,
it makes sense,
exactly.
because he's not
But
going to be your mainline DCU Batman,
no,
right?
no. But I will say, outside of Christian Bale, he is easily my favorite my favorite Batman. I feel like he played him the absolute best out of all of them. So I am excited to see him. I just hope that they use him in a way that is not going to really disrespect that character. But I mean,
I don't think so.
so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm hoping that we'll get some more information out, out here soon. And swear, man, um, for Flashpoint, that has been pushed off later and later and later. I swear, every single year, like because I think that they were supposed to have this out already, but obviously with the craziness going on, um, with with like Superman being gone and like Affleck quitting, so it just DC is just trying to figure things out, and that will
Yeah,
kind of yeah,
it's like a colluded. They need to find a Batman that like to stay Batman. Like
right.
you didn't have like Chris Evans, Captain America, like stop halfway through, and you have like a new Captain
Robert
America,
Downey Jr. Yes.
all pretty much all of those, maybe with the exception of the Hulk, like that situation. But still, that was the MCU era, like really get going. You had the same characters throughout, and you had a cohesive unit. In Marvel up to this point is just done everything overall better.
But someone who has been there consistently has been Gal Gadot, and this will kind of lead us right into Wonder Woman 1984. And Matt, I gotta say, I did not particularly like this movie. I just felt
I
really underwhelmed, disappointed at the
I
end of it.
I enjoyed it for what it was.
Mm.
Because like I say, it wasn't the worst movie I have seen, and I didn't turn off going like movie
But
waste of my time. But
but
at the end I was like, because I watched the first one right like a day before, so I was refreshed.
that first one kicked this one ass. Like it's
Yes,
like
yes,
and there were a few glaring things. First of all, this thing was way too damn long. Like 2.5 hours long. I felt like was just really unnecessary. Um, and like number two, even though I will say like Pedro Pascal, he was awesome. Like acting was not a problem in this film,
no.
but I hated his character so badly. Like this
I
just felt like such a insignificant villain
I
for
see.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
I didn't hate the character per se. I totally forgot like he was in it because it was always in my head. It was oh my god, who was the other uh uh the female, oh my god, SNL,
Um um Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Rick. I had the wrong name, K name. Like I thought she was like the gonna be like the main person, like seeing it, but like her character
Yeah.
kind of
She
was.
was just a very odd casting for this role.
I don't.
Um
I know. I think
I felt,
based
yeah.
on the characters there, I think she played it well. I think it was a good choice. But I think like the bad character kind of was insignificant.
It really
Excuse
was.
me.
And that was my whole thing. It's just like, and two, like the whole entire arc was basically Diana was just going through all of her grief and like losing Steve um
And
Trevor.
everybody
But
making wishes.
yeah, and everyone making witches and her just kind of being not acting on what a hero should be acting like. And I feel like that probably turned off a lot of people, myself included. And I just felt like that there wasn't enough action that I was expecting.
And like I said, it wasn't as much Wonder Woman action.
Yeah, it's just like I did definitely agree with it. Obviously, at the end, we like we really got that, but it was not what I expected, and it was something I was really excited for, and just not what I had hoped for. Now they did sign on for a third film, and I believe that they're actually teasing Gorilla City and Gorilla Grodd, which that should be awesome. It a very big, a very big, a very big as far as a like leap and then like villains there, because to me he's one uh of the top five DC villains there as far as that is concerned. So we'll see how that goes. But how is this rated as far as on IMDb?
Okay, let me do. Well, I'll pull up Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. I'll do Rotten Tomatoes first here, since yeah, I honestly, I don't think I looked at the ratings for this.
Yeah.
This is one of the movies. In hindsight, you're glad you streamed it on Christmas and you go pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
even though you are paying for HBO and Max in some form or fashion. Wonder Woman 1984 critics have it as a 60%, um, and then the audience score is 74%. So not as bad as one would
No.
think. And then IMDb, um, that it could have been worse. I'm surprised it's that high of 75. 60. I thought would be. This was a very decisive. Seeing it on um, the Twitter. It has a out of little over 118,000 ratings, 5.5 out of 10. And comparative, if I can find 60 in Metascore. Comparatively, if I can find the first one, just for reference, I'm curious right now. Wonder Woman, uh, 2017. It still blows my mind. It's that long ago, even though that's going on 4 years. It had a 7.4, 76 Metascore, which 7.4, that's fair. But it's dropped to 5.5. Basically a failing grade from us lay people on IMDb. And Rotten Tomato, I'm going to try to find that too, just for another reference. Let's see here. But once I find it. But yeah, this movie, like, there's a lot of just like ugh, like from the Twitter, like it was just like it's not as good. People didn't really like it, and it was a step. It was a step down, obviously, from the first one. 93% from the first one. Certified fresh, 93%. Mm-hmm. So you went from that to 60.
Huh, wow. And kind of...
And their percentages are from the critics.
Mm-hmm. Which you would expect. They're going to be a little bit more harsher, So yeah,
I assume the first one, but regardless.
All right, and the final thing that we're going to touch on for today, guys, is will Robert Downey Jr. possibly be involved in Star Wars, Matt? And I think I told you about this on Tuesday
or something like that, a day or two ago.
Yeah. What would you think about him being what?
Grand Admiral, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
I think initially I can't picture him as it, but I think because Admiral Thrawn, somebody did like a Photoshop of him with blue skin and the hair as it, and you know what? Maybe Thrawn has kind of that deep, like kind of like that English, I think, accent, if I'm not mistaken. If he shaves he has to shave completely, and I think he could pull out a voice. Could he pull a Sherlock Holmes kind of?
Yeah, I think he absolutely can. I think he absolutely can.
I think he could pull it. I'm not sure he would be my the first one. I don't know who else, but he could pull it off. Like, I have no doubt, but he wasn't my first choice. But talk about star power. That could make it happen.
Yeah, and that would definitely get a lot of people talking on top of that, which hell, and just based on everything else that they got going on, would be a very interesting dynamic because it would go like because as far as we have been watching, he's been typically a like good guy playing a like base role and not so much on the other side. So it would definitely be a different challenge for him. I think he would definitely want to kind of prove that he can
I
do
yeah, I
that.
think he can easily do because he kind of has that face or demeanor
Yeah.
acting. If you just look at Iron Man and like some of the way he acts, it's funny. But if he made that a bad guy, I think that attitude can still work. Like if it was the shoe was on the other foot, I think he could be like uh, that ass of a villain, right? That us fans would love to see. Um, I think like with the right makeup and hair and stuff, I think it can make it work. And we all know their relationship throughout the Marvel movies, anyways. That being Favreau and uh, Downey.
Mhm.
So there's obviously already a working relationship, and
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah.
with and you know they're with that Disney bank account, he's gonna get paid handsomely.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about that. It's more of is Dave and John going to actually want him, and number two, will he accept? Because to me, as far as like dollars are concerned, that that's like a like given. If they want him, they will they will have this worked out. But it would be a very interesting because obviously he's completely over with Iron Man now. So this
Yeah,
would definitely keep his name out
minus
there.
maybe a few things. Yeah,
Right,
but
but like this
but yeah,
for how popular that this whole thing is on Disney with the Mandalorian and everything else that is coming on this app. I mean, shit. Like he'll 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 do well.
if they release Robert Downey Jr. is uh, playing Thrawn and the Ahsoka Tano spin-off show, people are gonna tune in regardless before they do this. It's still going to be the talk. People
Yeah.
want to see it,
Oh
and
yeah.
sure as shit they throw a teaser trailer out there and they have him like for like a split second or a little bit, and you get that taste of him as it, and that will be the key whether that like the reaction if people see to go, oh my god, people are gonna be ecstatic in for that. I mean, I don't know how much he would have to if Thrawn's eventually, I guess obviously going to be the main,
Mhm.
I think, antagonist
Right.
eventually, if not one of a couple antagonists uh, in that show. I mean, I don't know how this would compare to a movie set. I think we saw behind the scenes in The Mandalorian. It's
Yeah.
pretty damn close, pretty similar. Um, I think that's it's. I think it could be. I don't want to say easy money, but like you got Favreau. You've worked with. They've worked together. Easy relationship. You know what you hear and stuff that those guys are easy to work with. John and Dave.
Hmm.
Um, and if Downey, has that commitment to the character, which I have no doubt he will not. Right, like it's a stupid thing to not assume. I think it's a hit. You bring in Mark Hamill at the end of Mandalorian. Um, like that was your big star power. No
Yeah.
offense to um, everybody else on the thing. There's some good star power. The rest of the cast, but like Mark Hamill was, that's that was it. That was the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the icing.
Yeah.
Um,
And a perfect way to end season to generate a whole bunch of buzz for everything else that they got going on as well.
and you bring in, which it looks like season 3 might not happen this year. You might have the Boba Fett stuff take its place, because I don't think anything was scheduled that people were releasing for this fall. So who knows? But still quality content coming our way. And then we have, in upcoming weeks on this show, we're going to be talking about WandaVision. That's coming, what?
Next week? Or is
15th, next Friday. I think the 15th. I think it's next Friday. Yeah. So, well, maybe in 2 weeks we'll talk about it, since we're delayed, because we usually record these podcast Thursdays before Friday.
And I believe there's only 6 episodes with that there. So
is it 6 or 8 or something like that?
I want to say that it's only 6.
It might be 6, and then but I think they have that like preview thing talking about Vision and
like Wanda, yeah. So,
I think I don't know if that's tomorrow. I don't forget when they came out, but there's something to talk about.
Absolutely. But yeah, guys, that should pretty much do it for our show. Matt, I'll let you close us out here.
Oh, thanks again. Thanks everybody for watching. This was episode 73. Again, you can find all new podcast every Saturday at 3 p.m. here on the channel. We appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps us out. And then if you're a wrestling fan, we have our live reaction shows every Friday after SmackDown, shortly thereafter around 10:05, give or take. Talk about the week that was wrestling between WWE
WrestleMania season.
WrestleMania
seasons. We are right at the beginning of that, so we're going to be really diving into that. And as far as like who we think is going to be winning Royal Rumble, both
male and female.
Yeah. So
that's coming in closer at the end of the month. So that's going to be, we're heating up here, as John said, on the road to WrestleMania. And so with that, for John, I'm Matt. Thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.